Very good morning students. Welcome to online learning program of Alchemy School. Students, we are learning science of class 9 biology, chapter number 5, the fundamental unit of life. Student, in this particular chapter you have seen that we are studying about the cell. I have given you some general information about the cell, and then we started studying the components of the cell, where we have read about the first component of the cell, that is plasma membrane. In plasma membrane, we have also learned that plasma membrane is performing very important functions, that is diffusion and osmosis inside the cell. These diffusion and osmosis two processes help the cell to function successfully. Now, I want to tell you one last feature of plasma membrane. Plasma membrane also used to perform the function of endocytosis. Endocytosis means, for example, amoeba. Try to understand first, then I will give you the definition. For example, amoeba. You might have seen the plasma membrane or the outer membrane. Amoeba is a animal cell, so it will not have the presence of cell wall. It will have directly the plasma membrane. So the plasma membrane of amoeba is very irregular in nature because it is very flexible in nature. So due to the flexible nature, due to the capacity of flexibility in amoeba, it tries to tries to extend the plasma membrane to form pseudopodia and engulf the food inside the cell. So the process or the capacity of flexibility in the plasma membrane, due to which it can engulf the material inside, is called the endocytosis. So endocytosis is a process which is performed by the plasma membrane due to the flexible nature of the plasma membrane. And which process it is? It is the process of taking any material inside the cell due to the flexibility of the plasma membrane. You can give the example of amoeba, which is an animal cell, but it performs endocytosis due to the flexibility of the plasma membrane. So here the plasma membrane will get over. Now another component of the cell is the outermost layer, that is cell wall. You already know that cell wall is present only in the plant cell. Cell wall is not present in the animal cell. So the outermost covering in the animal cell is plasma membrane, and the outermost covering in the plant cell is cell wall. And the second covering or the second layer of the cell is plasma membrane in the plants. So we will read little bit about the cell wall also. Cell wall is made up of, it is a rigid and it is hard, it is protective in nature, it is outermost covering into the plant cell. You already know that cell wall is made up of a component which is called cellulose. And cellulose is a complex carbohydrate. Okay, you already know carbohydrates means hydrocarbons which are made up of carbon and hydrogen, right? So the complex material which are made up of carbon and hydrogen. So that's why cellulose is a complex carbohydrate. Complex means it is a very heavy molecule, it is a very long molecule which is made up of carbon and hydrogen. Understood? So cell wall is made up of cellulose. It is a complex carbohydrate, and cell wall gives the structure to the cell, and it is also gives the strength. It is because it is hard. Cell wall is rigid. It is hard. It gives the protection, it gives the strength, and it gives the structure to the cell of the plants. So now one more thing regarding the cell wall. Cell wall used to perform the function of plasmolysis. Now try to understand, students, what is plasmolysis. Plasmolysis means, sometimes you already know that each and every cell used to perform the function of diffusion also, and they used to perform the function of osmosis also. So when a cell is in a particular solution, a cell in a particular osmotic solution, where it will lose its solvent, when the cell will undergo some osmotic process, and due to that osmotic process it will lose its solvent. Losing the solvent means the moisture or the liquid content or the water content which is present inside the cell, that will come out. And when that will come out, what will happen? The cell will shrink. Why it will shrink? because all the water and the solvent came out of the cell. So this process in which the cell will suffer from the process of, the cell will undergoes the process of osmosis, then it will lose its water or it will lose its solvent, and after losing the solvent, the plasma membrane will shrink, but the cell wall will not shrink, because cell wall is a rigid hard covering. So cell wall will not shrink, but the plasma membrane is a living flexible membrane that will shrink because the water or the solvent has been lost and it came out of the cell. Understood? So this process in which the cell will undergo the osmotic process and it will lose the solvent, and in result of that the plasma membrane will shrink but the cell wall will remain hard. This particular process is called plasmolysis. So sometimes the plant cell used to suffer the condition of plasmolysis. So this is very simple to understand why the cell wall will not shrink but the plasma membrane will shrink, because cell wall is rigid. Now we will we have read about the cell wall, we have read about plasma membrane. Now we will study about the nucleus. Now we have taken a very important component of the cell, that is nucleus. Students, here I have drawn nucleus for you. Nucleus is a double layered membrane. Understand each and every point regarding the nucleus very carefully. If you will not be careful in listening the explanation of the nucleus, you will get confused. So the first feature is nucleus is a double layered bounded membrane. You can see one layer is inside, one layer is outside. So not only nucleus, other cell organelles are also bounded with the double layer membrane on its surrounding. So nuclear is a double layered bounded membrane. Second is nucleus is also porous. Porous in the sense it is having the presence of holes. It is having the presence of pores. With the help of these pores, nucleus is able to exchange the materials from the internal environment of the cell to inside and outside of the nucleus. So, as nucleus is porous, due to the presence of pores, it can perform the functions easily due to for the exchange of material. Now you might have heard, students, that we used to talk about the genetic material. You might have seen in many serials, you might have heard about many stories that when a doctor is doing any test into the hospital to identify who is the child of the parent and who is not, we used to do the DNA test. We used to do the genetic testing of the parent and the child. If the DNA test of the child is matching with the DNA test of the parent, that means this child is of this parent only. If the DNA test of the child is not matching with the parent, that means they are not the biological parent of the child. You might have heard these kind of stories in the TV serials, movies, and in the stories. So what is this DNA or the genetic material? This is present inside the nucleus. This is called genetic material. What it is genetic material? When you will try to open it up, you can see this type, a long chain of ribbon-like structures. A long chain of ribbon-like structures which are present in a highly networked form, which are present and coiled at one place. These long ribbon-like structures which are connected with thread with each other, they are called chromosomes. I have magnified one chromosome here. Now, not only chromosome is made up of chromatin fibers. These fibers are complexly designed and situated in a complex thread-like coiled material, and these thread-like materials which are coiled together to form chromosome, these coiled materials are chromatin fibers. When you will make these chromatin fibers straight, you will stretch the chromatin fibers also. Then you can find that chromatin fibers are having double strands, means double ribbon-like structures of DNA. So chromatin fibers is made up of the arrangements of or double strands which are arranged in a helix style. These double strands are DNA, right? And on the DNA, these functional units are present. DNA is made up of some functional and non-functional units, and these functional and non-functional units are called genes. So these unit, not non-functional unit, the functional unit of DNA only is called genes, not the non-functional one, because non-functional unit is not working as a gene. So DNA is made up of the functional units, which is genes. Chromatin fibers is made up of double strand and double helix DNA, and the chromosome is made up of chromatin fibers, and the genetic material present inside the nucleus is made up of chromosome. So it is a very complex structure. So genetic material we talk about only here, which started from here, which is again present in a cell, that is also inside a nucleus. So try to understand very carefully. The functional unit of DNA is called genes, and these genes are only responsible to transfer the character from our parents to children. If your parents are having curly hair and the parent's child is also having curly hair, that means the same genes which are functioning for the curly hair in the parent, those same genes are also active in the child for the curly hair. So the child is having curly hair because the parent is having curly hair. And who has transferred this character? The genes have transferred the character of curly hair. So if the same genes which are active in the parents, the same genes will be active in the child, then the characters of that parent and the child will be same. So in this way, we have learned about the important facts about the nucleus and how a nucleus is functioning in your body. Next time I will take some another cell organelles to teach you. Till then you will write the detailed explanation of the nucleus and the cell wall and the process of endocytosis in the plasma membrane. Till then stay safe and stay at home.